You started this as—
Picture this: a parking garage, fluorescent lights flickering overhead, a young black woman gasping for air as hands wrap around her throat. The son of a millionaire, drunk on privilege and entitlement, squeezing tighter. His friends watching, laughing, recording. But what he doesn't know, what none of them know, is that those hands around her neck, they're about to meet fists that have shattered bones in the ring. This is the story of Maya Johnson, housekeeper's daughter, Golden Gloves boxer, and the woman who taught a spoiled rich kid that some people hit back. What happened next changed everything.
Maya Johnson woke up at 4:30 a.m. every morning, not because she wanted to, because she had to. By 5 a.m., she was at Morrison's gym on the south side of town, her breath forming clouds in the pre-dawn cold as she ran the 3 miles there. No car, no rides, just her feet, her hoodie, and her determination. The gym smelled like sweat, leather, and dreams deferred. Coach Rivera was always there first, brewing coffee so strong it could wake the dead. "Morning, champ," he'd call out, the same greeting every day for the past 6 years. Maya wasn't a champ, not yet, but she was close. At 19, she'd won the regional Golden Gloves twice. Her record was 24-3, with 17 knockouts. She had fast hands, faster footwork, and a right hook that had put 3 girls in the hospital. All legally, all in the ring, all with their consent to fight. But after training, that's when her other life began. By 9 a.m., Maya was at the Whitmore estate, following her mother through marble hallways that cost more than their entire apartment building. Her mother, Grace Johnson, had been the Whitmore family's housekeeper for 15 years. She'd raised their son, Brandon, while his father built a tech empire and his mother attended charity galas. Brandon Whitmore III was everything Maya despised. 22 years old, never worked a day in his life, failed out of 3 colleges Daddy had to pay to forget about. He drove a custom Porsche, wore suits that cost $5,000, and treated staff like furniture. "Your daughter's pretty, Grace," he'd said once, leaning against the kitchen counter while Maya helped her mother prepare lunch. "Shame she dresses like a boy." Maya had clenched her fists so tight her nails drew blood from her palms. Her mother had touched her arm gently. "Let it go, baby. We need this job." And they did. Grace's paycheck kept them afloat, paid the rent, bought groceries, kept Maya's little brother Marcus in school supplies. So Maya swallowed the insults, the wandering eyes, the accidentally brushing past her in narrow hallways. She swallowed it all and channeled it into her fists at the gym. But today was different. Today was Maya's day off. She'd promised Marcus she'd take him to the movies. He was 10, obsessed with superheroes, and still believed the world was fair. She wanted to keep it that way as long as possible. They caught the bus downtown, Marcus bouncing in his seat, rattling off Spider-Man facts. Maya smiled, really smiled, for the first time in weeks. The movie was perfect. Marcus laughed at all the right parts. Afterwards, they stopped for ice cream they really couldn't afford, but Maya didn't care. These moments, these simple, normal moments, were what she fought for, in the ring and out. But as they walked through the downtown parking garage toward the bus stop, Maya heard it. Laughter. Male. Drunk. Entitled. She recognized that laugh. "Well, well, well!" Brandon Whitmore stepped out from behind a concrete pillar, flanked by 4 of his prep school friends, all blazers and smirks and trust funds. "If it isn't the help's daughter." Maya's stomach dropped. She grabbed Marcus's hand tighter. "We're just leaving," she said, evenly, trying to walk past. Brandon stepped in front of her. His breath reeked of expensive whiskey. "I'm talking to you. That's rude, walking away when someone's talking to you." His eyes crawled over her. "Didn't your mama teach you manners?" Maya's jaw clenched. "Step aside, Brandon." Using his first name was a mistake. She saw it in his eyes immediately, the flash of rage that someone like her had addressed him as an equal. "What did you just call me?" His voice dropped dangerously low. Behind him, his friends pulled out their phones. This was entertainment for them, a show. Marcus tugged Maya's hand. "Maya, let's just go." But Brandon heard, and he smiled. "Is that your little brother? Cute kid. Does he know his sister's a charity case? That without my family they'd be homeless?" That's when Maya felt it. The familiar heat rising in her chest. The same heat she felt before every fight. The bell was about to ring.
"Walk away, Brandon." Maya's voice was steel. She positioned herself between Marcus and the group of men. "This doesn't involve my brother." Brandon laughed, that same entitled, grating laugh that echoed off the concrete walls of the parking garage. "Doesn't involve him. Everything about your little ghetto family involves my family. We own you." The words hung in the air like poison. One of Brandon's friends, a blonde kid in a Ralph Lauren polo, snorted. "Dude, just let them go. This is boring." But Brandon wasn't done. He'd found an audience, found someone he could finally dominate outside his father's suffocating shadow. For once, he was the powerful one. "You know what your problem is, Maya?" He stepped closer, invading her space. "I've seen you at the house, walking around with that chip on your shoulder. But you're not special. You're just like your mama, paid to clean up our messes." Maya's hands trembled, not from fear, from restraint. Every instinct in her body screamed to throw the right hook she'd perfected over 6 years, to feel his jaw crack under her knuckles, to watch him crumble like the coward he was. But Marcus was there. 10-year-old Marcus, who still believed in heroes and happy endings. "We're leaving," Maya turned, pulling Marcus with her. That's when Brandon made his second mistake. He grabbed her shoulder. "I didn't dismiss you." Maya spun, knocking his hand away with a sharp strike that made him stumble back. Years of defensive training, pure instinct. Brandon's face contorted with rage. "You just hit me. You grabbed me. That's called self-defense. That's called assault." Brandon's voice echoed through the garage. "You assault white people now? Is that what you people do?" "You people." There it was, the mask slipping, the privilege revealing its true face. Maya's jaw clenched so tight she thought her teeth might shatter. "Marcus, go wait by the elevator bank." "Maya, now!" Marcus ran, his footsteps echoing. Maya tracked him in her peripheral vision until she saw him reach the elevator bank, safe and distant. Now, it was just her and 5 drunk, entitled men who'd never been told no in their entire lives. Brandon circled her slowly, his friends forming a loose semicircle, all of them recording on their phones now. They probably thought this was content, a viral moment. Crazy black girl attacks innocent white men. They had no idea what content actually meant in her world. The ring, the gloves, the rules. Maya's father could have your mother fired with one phone call. And he could have you arrested, prosecuted. Think about that before you... "Before I what?" Maya interrupted. "Before I stop letting people like you put their hands on me?" Brandon's face flushed. He wasn't used to being interrupted, wasn't used to someone standing their ground. "You need to learn your place," he hissed. And that's when he lunged. It wasn't a punch. Brandon didn't know how to punch. It was a shove, both hands against her shoulders, fueled by rage and entitlement and years of being allowed to do whatever they wanted. Maya stumbled back but kept her footing. Training, always training. "You want to fight me?" she said quietly. "You really want to do this?" "Fight you?" Brandon laughed. "I'm going to teach you a lesson." He came at her again, and this time
Maya didn't back up. She slipped to the side, textbook footwork, and Brandon careened past her, nearly falling. His friends laughed. At him. At their fearless leader made foolish by a girl half his size. That laughter broke something in Brandon. He turned, and Maya saw murder in his eyes. Not metaphorical murder, real rage, the kind that doesn't think about consequences. "You think you're tough?" Brandon charged again, but this time it wasn't a shove. His hands went straight for her throat. Maya felt his fingers close around her windpipe, thumbs pressing against her larynx. He slammed her back against a concrete pillar, and for a moment, just a moment, she couldn't breathe. The world started to blur. Red spots danced in her vision. Brandon's face was inches from hers, twisted with satisfaction. "Not so tough now, are you?" His friends were still recording, still watching. Not one of them moved to stop it. In the ring, there were rules, referees, weight classes, medical staff. But this wasn't the ring. This was a parking garage. This was a black girl being strangled by a white millionaire's son while his friends filmed it for entertainment. This was America. Maya's training took over, not the boxing training, the street defense. Coach Rivera insisted all his fighters learn. Street defense, real-world scenarios. She brought her arms up between Brandon's, explosive and fast, breaking his grip on her throat. At the same time, she drove her knee up, not to his groin, that was too expected, but to his solar plexus. Brandon's hands dropped immediately, his body folding as he gasped for air. But Maya wasn't done. 6 years of swallowed pride, of ignored insults, of watching her mother bow her head to people who didn't deserve respect. It all came pouring out. She grabbed Brandon by his expensive suit jacket and drove him back against the opposite pillar. Their positions reversed. "You want to choke someone?" Maya's voice was barely a whisper, but it carried more weight than any shout. Brandon's eyes were wide now, afraid. He tried to speak, but couldn't, still couldn't breathe from the knee strike. "Maya!" Marcus's voice cut through the red haze. "Maya, stop, please!" She looked up, saw her little brother standing by the elevator, tears streaming down his face. Saw the phones, still recording. Saw the choice in front of her. Become what they expected, violent, aggressive, dangerous, or be something better. She let go of Brandon. He collapsed to the ground, coughing and gasping. "We're done here," Maya said, turning away. That's when she heard it. The click-clack of expensive shoes on concrete. Brandon's friend, the blonde in the polo, stepped forward. "You can't just assault someone and walk away." "He choked her," Marcus shouted, his young voice cracking. "You all saw it." The blonde smiled, cold, calculated. "We saw her attack Brandon. Self-defense on his part. That's what the videos will show." Maya's jaw clenched so tight she thought her teeth might shatter. Brandon stood up slowly, one hand on his throat, and when he spoke, his voice was hoarse but triumphant. "You're going to regret this. My father will destroy your family. Your mother will never work again. And you're going to jail." The concrete walls seemed to close in. Maya had fought so hard, trained so long, been so careful to play by the rules. And it didn't matter, because the rules were never written for people who looked like her.
Maya stood frozen in the parking garage, her little brother's sobs echoing off concrete walls that suddenly felt like a tomb. Brandon Whitmore straightened his suit jacket, his hand still massaging his throat, but his smile, that entitled, venomous smile, growing wider by the second. "Do you understand what you've done?" he rasped, his voice damaged but his confidence intact. "Do you have any idea who my father is?" "I know exactly who your father is," Maya said quietly. "The man who pays my mother to clean up after your family. The man who will believe whatever story you tell him." Smart girl. Brandon took a step forward. His friends formed a tighter circle, predators sensing blood. "Here's what's going to happen,"
Those videos, he gestured to the phones, they show you attacking me, unprovoked, violent, dangerous. The blonde friend chimed in. We'll edit them just right. Clip out the part where you grabbed her, start right where she strikes you. Perfect self-defense claim on your part, Brandon. Maya's chest tightened. This was always the end game, wasn't it? The system wasn't broken, it was working exactly as designed. My father's lawyers will have you arrested by tonight, your mother fired by tomorrow, and your little brother? He glanced at Marcus with mock sympathy. He'll grow up knowing his sister destroyed his family. Maya didn't do anything, Marcus shouted through his tears. You choked her. You're a liar. Careful, kid, the blonde warned. Witnesses can be charged too. That threat against her 10-year-old brother snapped something inside Maya. Not her control, something deeper. Her fear. She'd been afraid her whole life. Afraid of losing jobs, losing housing, losing the fragile stability her mother had sacrificed everything to build. Afraid of being too loud, too visible, too black in spaces that tolerated but never welcomed her. But standing in that parking garage, watching entitled men weaponize their privilege against a child, Maya realized something profound. They were going to destroy her regardless. Quiet or loud, compliant or resistant. It didn't matter. The punishment was always predetermined. So she made a choice. You want to fight? Maya said, her voice steady now, crystal clear. You want to see violence? She stepped forward, and Brandon instinctively stepped back. I'm a Golden Gloves boxer, 24 wins, 17 knockouts. I can break your orbital bone with one punch, collapse your windpipe with a proper strike. I could hospitalize all 5 of you before any of you let it at a single hit. The garage went silent, except for Marcus's sniffling. But I won't, Maya continued. You know why? Brandon didn't answer. His friends had lowered their phones slightly. Because I'm not you. I don't hurt people for entertainment. I don't use power to humiliate others. And I don't hide behind money and lawyers when I'm too coward to face consequences. Big words for someone about to be arrested, Brandon said, but his voice wavered. Arrest me then. Maya pulled out her phone. But I'm calling my coach first. Coach Rivera trains half the fighters in this city, including 3 police officers. I'm calling him right now, on speaker, and telling him exactly what happened. You think anyone will believe you over us? The blonde scoffed. Maybe not. Probably not. Maya started dialing. But Coach knows people at the local news. He knows lawyers who work pro bono for fighters. He knows how to make noise. Brandon's smile faltered. My father. Your father doesn't control everything, Maya interrupted. And you? She looked him dead in the eye. You're not as untouchable as you think. The phone rang. Once. Twice. Wait. Brandon held up his hand. Just wait. Maya paused, finger hovering over the answer button. Brandon looked at his friends, something unspoken passed between them. The cold calculation of risk versus reward. Public scandal versus private humiliation. Delete the videos, Brandon said finally. What? The blonde friend stared at him. Dude, we have her dead to rights. Delete the videos. Reluctantly, one by one, his friends deleted the footage. Maya watched each phone screen go dark, each piece of manufactured evidence disappear. But she kept her phone ready, still recording. Now, apologize, Maya said. Don't push it, Brandon growled. Apologize to my brother for threatening him. Brandon's jaw clenched, his fists opened and closed. Every fiber of his being rebelled against submission. But finally, he looked at Marcus. Sorry, kid. It wasn't sincere. It would never be sincere. But it was submission. And for men like Brandon Whitmore, submission was agony. We're leaving now, Maya said. If I see you near my family again, near my mother at work, near my brother anywhere, Coach Rivera won't be the only person I call. Understand? Brandon didn't answer, just stood there humiliated and furious as Maya took Marcus's hand and walked toward the elevator. They didn't run, didn't hurry, walked with dignity through that parking garage like they owned it. But as the elevator doors closed, Maya finally allowed herself to shake. Marcus looked up at her, eyes still wet. "Are we safe?" Maya didn't have an answer, because she didn't know if people like them were ever truly safe.
The bus ride home was silent. Marcus pressed against Maya's side, his small body still trembling. She wrapped her arm around him, staring out the window at the city passing by, the same city that looked so different now, darker, more dangerous. When they finally reached their apartment, Grace Johnson was waiting on the front steps, her phone clutched in her hand, her face streaked with tears. "Baby," she gasped, pulling Maya into a crushing embrace. "Oh, God, baby, I thought—" "We're okay, Mama, we're okay." But they weren't. Not really. Grace had already gotten the call. Brandon's father, Richard Whitmore III, had contacted her personally, told her there'd been an incident in a parking garage, told her that her daughter had assaulted his son, told her that the family would be generous and not press charges if Grace resigned immediately. 15 years of service, 15 years of raising their child, cooking their meals, cleaning their messes, gone with one phone call. "I'm so sorry, Mama," Maya said, tears finally breaking through. "I tried to walk away. I swear I tried." "Shh." Grace cupped Maya's face. "This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault." But it felt like her fault. It felt like every warning she'd ignored, every time Coach Rivera had told her to control her temper, every moment she thought standing up for herself would make a difference. It didn't. The system was always going to protect Brandon, always going to sacrifice people like Grace and Maya and Marcus to maintain the comfortable illusion that money equaled morality. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, every choice, every possible alternative timeline where things ended differently. At 4:30 a.m., muscle memory pulled her out of bed. She dressed for the gym, laced up her shoes, stepped out into the pre-dawn cold. But halfway to Morrison's gym, she stopped. What was she training for? A boxing career that required sponsors, coaches, funding, all things that could be destroyed by one wealthy man's vendetta? A future that could be erased because she defended herself against someone who'd never faced consequences? Maya stood on that empty street corner and cried. She cried for her mother's lost job, for Marcus's innocence shattered in a parking garage, for every black girl who'd ever swallowed rage to survive, for every quiet humiliation, every forced smile, every bowed head. She cried until the sun rose. And then she went to the gym anyway. Coach Rivera was waiting at the door. "Heard about yesterday," he said quietly. "Want to talk about it?" "Not really." "Want to hit something?" "Yeah." For the next 2 hours, Maya destroyed the heavy bag. Every punch carried the weight of generations. Every combination told the story of her grandmother, her mother, herself. Black women navigating a world that demanded perfection and still found reasons to punish them. When she finally stopped, knuckles bleeding through her wraps, Coach Rivera handed her a phone. "That's my lawyer," he said quietly. "She works pro bono for my fighters, specializes in civil rights cases. She wants to hear your story." "Coach, we can't afford." "Pro bono means free, Maya, and she's good, really good." He paused. "The Whitmores might have money, but you have something stronger. You have the truth, and you have people who believe in you." Over the next 3 weeks, something unexpected happened. The lawyer, Sandra Chen,
uncovered security footage from the parking garage, footage Brandon's friends hadn't known existed. Crystal clear video showing Brandon choking Maya, his friends standing by, the racial slurs, all of it. Sandra released it to the media. Within days, Richard Whitmore III was holding a press conference apologizing for his son's unacceptable behavior. Brandon was ordered to anger management and community service. Grace Johnson received a settlement, not just her job back, but enough money to never need the Whitmores again. But the real change came from something else. Maya's story went viral, not because of the violence, not because of the scandal, but because she'd survived, because she'd protected her brother, because she'd stood up even when the system was designed to knock her down. Young girls started showing up at Morrison's gym. Black girls, brown girls, girls who'd been told to be quiet, be small, be grateful. Girls who wanted to learn how to fight. Not fight with hatred or violence, but fight with discipline, with strength, with the understanding that defending yourself isn't aggression, it's survival. Maya started training them, teaching them footwork and jabbing and combinations, but also teaching them something Coach Rivera had taught her. The ring has rules, but the world doesn't always play fair. So you train for both. You train your fists and your mind. You'll learn when to fight and when to walk away. And most importantly, you never let anyone make you feel powerless. 6 months later, Maya won the state championship. Her little brother Marcus sat ringside, cheering louder than anyone. Her mother wore a shirt that read, "Proud Boxing Mom." Coach Rivera wept openly. And somewhere, probably in a country club or expensive restaurant, Brandon Whitmore III learned that some people hit back. Not with hatred, but with excellence.